Ρισκάροντας μια πρόβλεψη, ο Χάκετ δεν πρόκειται να τη δώσει πουθενά. Η στιγμή που όλοι όσοι βλέπουμε μπάσκετ αγαπάμε. Χάκετ με την προσποίηση για το μάτς! 84-81 με υπογραφή Ντάνιελ Χάκετ.
Όπως το λέει το τραγούδι είναι. Η ασημένια σφίκα. Τα όνειρα της Κυριακής κοστίζουν ακριβά. Οι διαδηλώσεις της Κυριακής ακριβά κοστίζουν. Τότε περισσότερος κόσμος μπορεί να βγει από το σπίτι του και να μην έχει καλύτερο σημείο να βρεθεί από εκεί, από το Σύνταγμα ή από όπου αλλού στην Ελλάδα. Οπότε επειδή κοστίζουν ακριβά, είπαμε και συγγνώμη, δεν νομίζω ότι θέλετε κάτι άλλο. Μηχανάκια περνάνε με ένστολους και πετάνε κρότου λάμψης όπου να είναι ως συνήθως. Ότι κόσμος μπαμπά. Δεν έχω να πω πάρα πολλά για ό,τι συνέβη την προηγούμενη εβδομάδα, ότι ήταν να πω και ότι κατάφερα να σταχυολογήσω και ότι κατάφερα να γράψω. Το έγραψα, πολλοί από εσάς το διαβάσατε. Ευχαριστώ πολύ για τα καλά λόγια. Χαίρομαι πολύ που όσους από εσάς το είδατε, το διαβάσατε, σας άγγιξε σε ένα βαθμό. Με κάνει να αισθάνομαι και εμένα πολύ καλύτερα. Το σκεφτόμουν, να σας πω την αλήθεια, αν θα γίνει όλο αυτό το podcast, αν θα γίνει γραπτό. Πάντα έχω την αίσθηση ότι κάτι τέτοια πρέπει να γίνονται γραπτό, είναι καλύτερα να αποτυπώνονται έτσι. Έχει μια στιβαρότητα, είναι πιο συμπαγής ο γραπτός λόγος σε σχέση με τον προφορικό, που ειδικά με το συναίσθημα να τρέχει τόσο πολύ μέσα στις φλέβες σου, υπάρχει μεγάλος κίνδυνος να ξεφύγεις από το θυμό, από την απόγνωση, από την οργή και να ξεχάσεις και αυτό που θέλεις να πεις, πώς θέλεις να το πεις. Οπότε έγινε κείμενο. Μπάσκετ είχαμε την Πέμπτη και την Παρασκευή, δεν αναβλήθηκαν τα παιχνίδια του Ολυμπιακού και του Παναθηναϊκού που έχασαν αμφότεροι. Ο Ολυμπιακός στο Μιλάνο, ο Παναθηναϊκός εντός από την Έφες. Έχει γίνει πολλή συζήτηση για το τι έγιναν τα παιχνίδια, για το ότι ξεκινάει η συζήτηση για τα παιχνίδια, ένα παιχνίδι που δεν έπρεπε να γίνει, και με βρίσκει σύμφωνο η διαπίστωση, αλλά σαν δημοσιογράφος πρέπει να πω γιατί δεν έγιναν, ή μάλλον γιατί έγιναν, γιατί δεν αναβλήθηκαν, και μετά να πούμε συμφωνώ ή διαφωνώ με αυτό. Οπότε τα παιχνίδια έγιναν σύμφωνα με την Ευρωλίγκα, σύμφωνα με τα τηλέφωνα που έκανα, γιατί δεν υπήρχε επίσημη απαγόρευση διεθνών αγώνων από την ελληνική κυβέρνηση. Υπήρχε οδηγία, το τριήμερο εθνικό πένθος, για αναβολή κάθε εγχώριας διοργάνωσης, όχι όμως διεθνούς. Και από τη στιγμή που δεν υπήρχε, η απόφαση της Ευρωλίγκας ήταν να γίνουν τα παιχνίδια, και σύμφωνα με αυτά που μου είπαν, χωρίς, και το τόνισαν, να συγκρίνεται η μία τραγωδία της Τουρκίας με αυτή της Ελλάδας, δεν συγκρίνονται αυτά τα πράγματα. Πράγματι. Όμως τότε το τουρκικό κράτος είπε ότι απαγορεύονται τα πάντα, διεθνή ή εγχώρια, και τα δύο παιχνίδια δεν έγιναν, της ΕΦΕΣ και της Φενέρ εκείνη την εβδομάδα, το θυμάστε. Εδώ δεν έγινε κάτι τέτοιο, υπήρχε μια οριζόντια αντιμετώπιση από την Ευρωλίγκα που δεν είναι και του γούστου μου. Και αν είναι αφελές εν έτη 2023, μιλώντας για business που είναι ο αθλητισμός, να αναζητά και να ψάχνει κανείς ηθική ενσυναίσθηση, συμπόνια, ανθρωπιά ή δεν ξέρω τι άλλο, να πω ότι ήταν μια κακή επιχειρηματική απόφαση, αν δεν φτάνουν όλα τα υπόλοιπα. Δεν ξέρω ποιος διαφημιστής βλέπει τον Εργίνα Ταμάν να λέει ότι εμείς δεν είχαμε πρόβλημα να φύγουμε, και όντως δεν έπρεπε να γίνει το παιχνίδι, και τη μέρα του αγώνα να μας το λέγατε θα φεύγαμε. Τον Κώστα Παπα-Νικολάου να λέει τα ίδια μέσα από την καρδιά του, όλους να λένε τα ίδια. Διάλεξα δύο πρόσωπα από το σωρό, αλλά όλοι τα ίδια είπαν και όλοι το ίδιο δίκιο είχαν. Και το πώς το αισθάνεται ο καθένας μέσα του και το πόσο τον έχει αδρανοποιήσει είναι μια προσωπική υπόθεση, και δεν τολμά καν να το πει. Αν είναι νικητής ή αν είναι τιμένος, μην και του πούνε ότι το λες τώρα ή δικαιολογείσαι, δεν ξέρω ποια άλλη αηδία. Όχι, δεν έπρεπε να γίνουν τα παιχνίδια. Μερικά πράγματα είναι πολύ παραπάνω από τον μπάσκετ, από τον αθλητισμό, από μια εβδομάδα που στο κάτω-κάτω προλαβαίναμε να την καλύψουμε. Αλλά έγιναν και θα γίνει και διπλή εβδομάδα τώρα προσεχώς, από την Τρίτη μέχρι την Παρασκευή. Γύρισα από την Λετωνία ασθενής γρίπη τύπου Α. Έκανα για πρώτη φορά αυτό το combo rapid test. Ανακοινώθηκε η γρίπη τύπου Α και παρέμεινα κλινήρης με μια οτίτιδα για παρέα. Σήμερα Κυριακή που γράφουμε, είμαι στην τελευταία ημέρα της άδειας και Τρίτη πρωί αεροπλάνο για την Νίκαια. Την Τετάρτη ο Παναθηναϊκός πάει να συναντήσει τον παλιό φίλο του Mike James σε εκείνη την τύπου υπόγα στο Γκαστόν Μεντεσάν, εκεί που έχει γίνει ένα από τα καλύτερα παιχνίδια όλων των εποχών, που δεν ήταν επίσημο, μια προπόνηση της Dream Team του 1992. Το έχει πει ο ίδιος ο Magic, πως ο Michael Jordan είχε χρησιμοποιήσει εκείνο το διπλό. Παίζανε East-West, Ανατολή-Δύση, για να δείξει σε όλους τους υπόλοιπους και ειδικά στα δύο ιερατεράτα, τον ίδιο και τον Bird, πως υπάρχει νέος σερίφης στο NBA. Λοιπόν, κάπου εδώ θα τελείωνε το podcast. Θα ήταν 5 λόγια, οπότε μάλλον δεν θα γινόταν κιόλας. Αλλά μερικές φορές η τύχη τα φέρνει έτσι. Ένα μήνα τώρα συζητάμε με τον Πάτρικ Γιανγκ πότε θα βρούμε λίγο χρόνο, πότε θα βρει ο ίδιος για να κάνουμε μια συζήτηση. Για όσοι δεν τον θυμάστε, ο Πάτρικ Γιανγκ είναι ένας Αμερικανός πρώην παίκτης του μπάσκετ, σέντερ 2-8. Απόφυτος στον Florida Gators, έπαιξε 4 χρόνια εκεί. Ξεκίνησε την ευρωπαϊκή του περιπέτεια στην Γκαλατασαράι με προπονητή τον Γκίνα Ταμάν. Και συνέχεια μεταγράφηκε στον Ολυμπιακό, που έκανε εκρηκτικό ξεκίνημα. Έκανε MVP της πρώτης αγωνιστικής. Σε παιχνίδι με την Τσεντεβίτα στο Ηράκλειο, ο Ολυμπιακός ήταν τιμωρημένος, αλλά η ατυχία τον χτύπησε και δεν σταμάτησε να τον χτυπά από τότε. Ένας τραυματισμός στον χιαστό του έκοψε το δρόμο στην υπόλοιπη σεζόν. Γύρισε, αλλά δεν ήταν ο ίδιος, και τους λόγους θα τους εξιστορήσει και ο ίδιος. Και τα θέματα που είχε με τον Γιάννη Σφαιρόπουλο την επόμενη χρονιά, και το γιατί γύρισε και δεν ήταν ο ίδιος, και το τι συνέβη, και μόλις τα 29 του χρόνια αποφάσισε να βάλει τέλος σε μια καριέρα που υπόσχονταν πολλά, με πολλές εγχειρήσεις, με ανθρώπους που τον βοήθησαν και με μια μοιραία μόλυνση στο γόνατό του την εποχή που είχε συμφωνήσει να παίξει με την Αρμάνι Μιλάνο, που ουσιαστικά κατέστραψε, όπως θα τον ακούσετε να λέει ο ίδιος, στο γόνατό του. Αλλά αυτό δεν ήταν το χειρότερο, γιατί αφού γύρισε, αφού έγινε σχολιαστής στο NCAA, στο SEC Network του ESPN, τον περασμένο Ιούνιο ενεπλάκησε ένα πάρα πολύ σοβαρό αυτοκινητικό ατύχημα, το οποίο είχε αποτέλεσμα να μείνει παράλυτος από τη μέση και κάτω, και δεν έχει περάσει ούτε χρόνος, αλλά ο Πάτρικ Γιανγκ έχει δημιουργήσει ήδη το ίδρυμά του με το όνομά του, το Πάτρικ Γιανγκ Foundation. Δουλεύει ακόμη ως σχολιαστής στο NCAA και δίνει το παράδειγμα και από βίντεο, στο οποίο προσπαθεί να ξανασταθεί στα πόδια του κυριολεκτικά. Φαντάζομαι τα έχετε δει οι περισσότεροι από εσάς στο Twitter, αλλά και μέσω ομιλιών, και όπου μπορεί να το κάνει, δίνοντας ένα μήνυμα πως η ζωή δεν τελειώνει όταν είσαι ακόμα ζωντανός, και πως δεν χρειάζεται να μπορείς να σταθείς όρθιος για να κρατάς το κεφάλι σου ψηλά. Λέει κι άλλα για τον υποθεώνη του Βασίλη Σπανούλη. Λέει ότι δεν είναι εύκολο, και τον ρώτησα για το πως βγαίνει κανείς όταν πρώτο ξυπνά από ένα τέτοιο ατύχημα, αλλά ακόμα και νωρίτερα, όταν η καριέρα σου τελειώνει στα 29, και πως ξεφεύγει από αυτό το γιατί σε μένα, και πως δεν καταλήγει ένας πικρόχολος άνθρωπος ο οποίος τα βάζει με τον κόσμο όλο για την δική του κακοτυχία. και όταν σταμάτησε η καριέρα του και τώρα, που προς το παρόν είναι καθυλωμένος σε ένα καροτσάκι και θα περάσει, το πιθανότερο είναι, την υπόλοιπη ζωή του μην καταφέροντας να περπατήσει. Δεν ξέρω αν δώσει ένα μήνυμα συμπαράστασης, δεν ξέρω αν αυτό αρκεί, μάλλον ξέρω, δεν αρκεί. Δεν συγκρίνεται. Αλλά δεν θα μπούμε στη διαδικασία σύγκρισης, δεν θα μπω σε αυτήν. Ό,τι μας βοηθάει ή ό,τι καταφέρει να μας βοηθάει, καλό είναι. Από το μικρότερο στο μεγαλύτερο. Ο Πάτρικ Γιανγκ, λοιπόν. Thank you so much for being here. So how are you and what are you up to these days?
I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. That's where I'm from, as you know. I'm doing well. I'm here with my family, with my wife and daughter. I'm working with SEC basketball, so I'm covering college basketball. We're in our last month. Today is the last day of regular season games, and the March Madness brackets are coming out soon. So I'll be working and doing that. And then once the season's over, and while in the middle of the season, I'm doing my rehabilitation, continued for my injury. I started a foundation. A few months ago, and as people reach out to me, I'm just trying to speak to and encourage and inspire as many people as possible. My story might not connect with everybody, but the people that do hear it, hopefully I can touch them. And because I'm a guy that was physically, you know how big I was, and the player that I was, and then all of a sudden that's taken away from the injuries I had in my career to now in my life, that's kind of been taken away for the what I believe for the time being. But that your circumstances don't have to dictate how you choose to live your life. I still choose to live my life with joy and just count the blessings that I have and live in gratitude. So yeah, that's what we got going on right now, man. Today's Saturday. So it's a relaxing day. This past week was full, and now I'm relaxing. So yeah, don't think this is not tiring for me. This actually gives me energy to do an interview and talk about this, and especially connect with the people of Greece.
So glad to hear it. So every time I think of you, I remember you as a guy that playing the part primarily with your heart, flexing muscles after a block or a dunk, and you didn't do it in an offensive way. You didn't do it, to insult anyone, but just, to show your part of having fun here as a playful gesture. So what comes to mind when you think of Greece?
Oh man, gosh. When I think of Olympiacos or Greece, like just my entire time in Greece.
Your choice.
Oh, well, I'll do both. When I think about my time with Olympiacos, I always just think, oh man, what could have been had I not gotten injured. I truly believe, everyone may have their own criticisms of Giannis Sfαιρόπουλο or of Spanoulis or whatever. I love Spanoulis. He was one of my favorite people in my life that I ever met. But people are going to have their criticisms of the coach. And, I may have mine as well. But when it comes to his tactics as a defensive coach, defensive-minded, he was probably one of the best that I played for because he demanded so much, and he understood, especially in the EuroLeague, teams like Cheska and Barcelona and Madrid. And, they have these excellent players. You have to disrupt them from doing what they want to do. He understood that, and he had us doing it at such a high level. We were a great defense, and I embraced that. And I knew I was the right guy for the job. Just unfortunate that I got injured and didn't return back as the same player. And it just was so unfortunate because my mind and my heart wanted to do those things that I knew I could bring. My body just was never able to. I learned a lot as a player at that time, and the fans were so great because they knew I wanted to come out there and do the best I can, and they were always so encouraging to me. I just felt like I left a lot on the table for them. So, but I try not to live in regret. There's nothing I can do about it. I share probably the same feelings that they do, that I just was unfortunate that things happened the way that they did. But I learned a lot about myself during that time, which is, life is more important than the game of basketball. But then when I think about my time in Greece, as, outside of being a basketball player, man, I went back to Greece almost every summer after I left Olympiacos, because I just
like you fell in love with us,
Patrick. Yeah, man. I still have friendships with people to this day. Because with my last season that I played basketball was in Israel. And then when I got released from Israel, I came back to Greece and I was working with Demetrius Skordis. I stayed there for about 3 months, and it sucked because it was during COVID. That was brutal. It wasn't a lot to do, but still, I wouldn't have replaced that. I love the food, the people. Not a huge fan. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, of the tarifas. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that or not. But yeah, man. It has a great place in my heart, the city of Athens and Greece in general. Can't wait to bring my wife there.
So you were born in Jacksonville, as you said, in Florida. You played for the Gators, which we have a legendary guy who's still playing, Nick Alathis, who was a Gator. Scotty Wilbekin and Alex Tyus, who were playing in EuroLeague, were your teammates, and 3 NBA stars, Bradley Beal, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Michael Frazier. So the thing is that we're talking about what ifs in your career, and you never missed a game in your Gator career.
Yeah,
you are just the second guy in history that played the whole 150 games. If that's not irony, I don't know what is.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Yeah, I think during my college career, I missed one practice as well. There was only one practice. It was one day my knees were just bothering me, I had some tendonitis, and I couldn't get warmed up. And Coach Donovan said, "Hey, man, just take today off, get yourself ready for the game." And I was frustrated about that. I hated missing practice. So, and it was just unfortunate how my injury happened, because usually when someone tears their ACL, that ligament in the knee, it's usually a non-contact injury. They land and they twist. But we know my injury was different. And I don't put any blame on anybody. Because I know the fans were upset with Bryant Dunston with the way that things happened. But, there's no way that Bryant, the great guy that he is, had any intention of injuring me. So his knee hit the back of my knee, and we know it tore my ACL and messed up my meniscus as well. But, I'm so grateful for those guys that you all mentioned. I never had a chance to play with Nick at Florida, but I played with Scotty. And it's just amazing to see how Scotty's doing with his career. One of the best point guards in the country. I mean, in Europe. And Nick still can't shoot, but he can pass the heck out of that ball, can he not?
He sure can. He sure can. I mean, I was there, Patrick. That night in Istanbul, I was there, and I couldn't work because there was a strike in Greece, and we were forbidden of saying anything. And I remember you getting injured, getting to the locker room, getting back. And I remember the doctors, showing the thumbs up. Okay, he's okay. And you finally got out of the game, and I saw you at the hotel that very night. And we had a small chat, and I told you, what do you think? And you said to me, okay, it's probably nothing. I hope it's nothing. But you felt it right. But the news weren't that great. What was the first reaction, because it was the first severe, if any, injury in your career. So anything that's the first is kind of a shock, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's crazy, man. Going back to why I even chose to come to Olympiacos. Everyone knows I was in Istanbul the year before with Galatasaray, with Ergin Ataman, and we kind of sucked. We were not good. But I played well personally. And, I had an opportunity to go do summer league with the Clippers that year. And I'm thinking, do I do summer league or do I go back to Europe? I had an opportunity to go to Darüşşafaka back in Turkey, make some good money. But we know it wasn't a very proven organization yet. It was very new, but they had a lot of money. And then Olympiacos was there for me, and understanding the history of that organization and the opportunity to play with some excellent players. I said, you know what? my big goal is to make it to the NBA, but I don't want to go to the NBA on a non-guaranteed contract. I said, I'm going to bet on myself that if I go to Olympiacos, this historic organization, we have a great year. I can't guarantee that we will win it all, but I was certain that we were going to go to the Final Four. You couldn't tell me that we weren't going to go to the Final Four if I stay healthy with me and Othello Hunter being in the front court. And yeah, everything was going great. Beginning of the season, I was figuring it out. I was playing at a high level. I think my hope was to win Defensive Player of the Year. I was leading in blocks up until that point. And then all of a sudden, this happens. And because I was unfamiliar with ever having an injury like this severe, I didn't know what to feel. I didn't know what to think. I'm like, is this really it? No, this can't be, like, the season can't be over. That can't be it. And obviously the next steps were figuring out, getting certain, as soon as we start talking about surgery, that's when and it's over. The season's over.
Yeah.
And it was just unfamiliar territory for me, because I wish almost that before that I could have had some type of injury before, like a very minor, so I could understand what it's like to be out for a little bit of time and have to go through the rehab process. Like, I've had some small things, but nothing that's ever, as you know, ever made me miss a game.
Sure.
So you go from this huge injury, it's like the whole season done. And in that time, it's like you're a part of the team, but you're not a part of the team. You don't practice with the team. You go to rehab at a different time. You don't travel with the team. So, and usually as a foreign player or as a basketball player, you spend most of the time with your teammates and I wasn't spending it. So it was really difficult trying to find my identity. But that's how I got more immersed into the Greek culture.
Yeah.
I guess
Connected more. Yeah.
Connected more with people and stuff outside of basketball. So that was great. I got to go home. I wish I would have done a better job with my rehabilitation because I just kind of thought that 6 to 9 months I'm going to be fine, but I didn't have that urgency of, like, treating every day and maximizing it. I was 20. How old was I then? 23?
Yeah.
24? Yeah.
24,
like
I think, yeah.
24. So, I mean, it's a lot of what woulda, coulda, shoulda, in this position. I'm now, hindsight bias is 2020. We looking back, but, I wish I could go back and do it again in a heartbeat. Every part of it, and just be a part of that. Or because if it was up to me, perfect scenario, I would have stayed with Olympiacos for a long time. I would have stayed there for a long time if it was up to me. But God had different plans for me.
But I don't know. Those things happen. It's part of your. It's part of basketball. Those kind of injuries, even those kind of injuries. So, what happened next year? I mean, you said it.
Yeah.
You said it at the start. You were never the same guy. But I have to ask. But was it a physical thing, or a mental thing, or a combination of both? What do you think, reflecting back?
Yeah. So that year, come back to Olympiacos after missing that season. The injury was in November. Get back to Greece was in August, and we do training camp. I can't remember where we do training camp at, and I just don't. First off, I don't think there was a great strategy plan in place with the team. I wasn't a great advocate for myself and protecting myself, because the first thing that I did before we started was you do this isometric test that measures the strength between your legs. And this is a very important test. This is the primary test a lot of athletes have to do once they have an injury like mine. And typically, you want 10% or less of a difference. Let's say my right leg can reach a power and strength of 300, and my left leg needs to be the same or at most 10% less than that number that the right leg can get. When I took this test, it was 30% less. And there was no, you're not ready. Like, you're not ready to play. You should not play at this time because your risk for re-injury is really high. And I want to give again, props and credit and thanks to Demetrius Gordis, because I was desperate, man. I was fearful of getting injured again, because I just knew I couldn't jump or cut the way that I wanted to off my left leg. So there was the mental aspect for me. Of course, there was fear of getting injured again. That's going to happen. But I was willing. I was definitely willing to do so. But in that year, you know, I got bone bruises in my knee multiple times. And then, Demetrius, I ended up going outside of the team. They knew I was going to work with Demetrius, and I paid my own money to do it. And he helped me by the end of that season to get that difference in my legs to less than 10%. He helped me. Like I worked my butt off with this man. He pushed me. He's great. He's excellent. Anybody listening to this, you know, Demetrius Gordis, I give him all the credit for helping me with my time in Greece, to believe in myself again, and to help me contribute in those games that I could. You know, when we went to the Final Four, I played some good minutes when we played against Cheska. So I give credit to him for that. But at the end of the season, I went to Milan. When the season was over, I went to Milan, and they did a review on my knee. Actually, no, before I went to Milan, I went to a doctor in Greece outside of the team, so he could go through an MRI, so I can get a second opinion from somebody outside of the team. And he says, there was a very small issue with my meniscus. Just a part of my meniscus was causing my range of motion to not go full. I couldn't get full range of motion because of this small. And he said, hey, we just need to go in, clean that up. You do 3 months of rehab, you'll be fine. And I'm just like, in my mind, I'll do anything. It was like torture, man. It's torture when you want to play, you want to do all these things. And it's like, you know, my coach was telling me I'm soft, that it's all in my mind. And I'm like, and I'm starting to believe him. Like, is it in my mind? Like, I don't think he's right. If it is, you know, if he is right, I'll accept that. But I didn't think he was, and he wasn't correct. There was something wrong. So I went to Milan, wanted to see if we could work a contract out with him. I wanted a fresh start. I knew I didn't want to play for Gianni Sfαιρόπουλο again. I just we didn't see eye to eye, and I just didn't really appreciate how he handled my injury situation. I don't hold him to. I forgive him. I'm not angry with him to this day. So there's no bitterness in my heart now, but that's the reality of the situation. You know, I go to Milan to have try to work out the contract, and they said, we'll sign you, but you must let us use our team doctor to fix this issue with your knee. And I said, in my mind, it made the most sense. You know, top surgeon in Italy. This is Milan we're talking about. You know, team owned by Giorgio Armani. They're not going to choose some secondhand surgeon.
Right.
Secondly, then I start my rehabilitation process now. So I'll be ready in my mind. I'll be ready by the time the season starts. And, you know, I didn't have to go home to try to find the right surgeon, and who knows how much time that would take to find that. So it seemed like the right choice at the right time. And surgery went well. I remember the surgery day like it was yesterday. And after like a day in the surgery, I could feel the difference that I'm like, man, my knee already kind of feels better. It's moving better. And, but I ended up getting an infection in my knee that sadly, the surgeon in Italy did not diagnose. So when I came back, I came back to Florida, and I had a really bad infection in my knee, and I had to go back home. I had to go to the emergency room in the hospital and get treated for that infection. I had to get.
I'm very sorry to hear that. I didn't know that. I don't know how many people know that. So, was that it? You know, was this the crucial moment of your career? That infection?
Yes. Yeah. That was the biggest thing that changed the trajectory of my career. That when I got that infection, it just it just destroyed my knee. You know, it caused a lot of scarring, caused a lot of issues. And fortunately, because I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. I had to get 3 surgeries after that for them to go in and clean out that bacteria infection. I was on antibiotic. Man, it was a crazy process. And You know, at that point, I know my doctor didn't think I would play basketball again. I wasn't sure if I'd play basketball again. But I believe that it would be possible. If anybody could, it will be me. So I went back to Milan and we worked. That was probably the way that I worked for my knee and stuff. When I was in Milan, I wish that's what I would have did.
Yeah, I get it.
With my
back in the ACL days, yeah.
Yes, I wish I would have done, because goodness gracious, the physio, he pushed me so much. We were doing 2-a-days. It was unbelievable. But just in that short time, my knee just didn't heal enough to get ready to play. So I ended up parting ways, never played a game for Milan. Had to get one more additional surgery to clean out some scar tissue. Then I rehabbed, and then that's when I ended up going to Avellino and played. That's the last, I guess you would say, the most game. It wasn't a full season. I got there late, but that's the last real season that I played basketball.
So, we're talking right now, and after all these things that you did and all those what ifs in your mind, sometimes those what ifs makes a person bitter or almost vindictive, and it can do such things to a person when you never fulfilled those kinds of expectations that firstly each one of us has in his own mind, disregard what anybody says. So how did you manage this thought process of not becoming this bitter person, which obviously you're not?
Yeah, no, Chris, that's a great question, because you look at a situation and all these things that happen, have every right to be bitter. I have every right to be angry. And I just realized the circumstances and what has happened, it is what it is. Like, this is what's happened. This is where I am. And I can go throughout the rest of my life and be angry and bitter towards these people that I guarantee you, first off, Brian Dunstan's not thinking about me. Gianni Sfαιρόπουλο is not thinking about me. The doctor, they don't care. I'm the only one carrying that. I'd be the only one carrying this stuff, this thought process. If I think that there's something miraculous that any one of them, even if they apologized, what's that going to do? The situation is still what it is, that those things happen. So I made a decision. I've always known this. Life was more than just basketball. Of course, it was something I've been passionate about for a long time, and I would love to play till I was 35, have a long career like Spanoulis did, or Yorgos, or any of these guys. Like, look at Rudy Fernandez. I mean, he's still playing. Goodness gracious.
I mean, yeah, he's like 40 now.
Yeah. Like, I would absolutely love to have had a career like that. But now it's like, what is the point of any of us living in the past?
Yeah, but at the same time, Patrick, you have to, each one of us has to realize that you don't control everything. And that's a hard thing to realize.
Yeah. It's an illusion that we think we have a lot more control. And it's easy for us to say, oh, I should have done that. This would have, because I think about this too, man. I could have left early and went to the NBA after my freshman year, my sophomore year, my junior year in college. And I didn't. And life would be different. Would it be better? I don't know. I'm not going to try to live in that thought process of thinking, oh man, life would be, I'd have more money. I have it. Man, life is now. If there's any encouragement to anyone that's listening, your life is today, not yesterday, not tomorrow. The relationships and people that you have around you is in your corner, especially in your darkest times. It's easy for people to be around you when things are going good and things are easy. But when things go